Because, hey, if you can flip a house and make $50,000, that's great. But if you can flip a house and make $1 million, that's even better.
If we can get this one done, there's plenty to be done there.
Yeah.
And you can just keep repeating it right in there.
Yeah.
Anything inside that closed community, I think you make money.
There is a myth that Act 60 is only for people who come from the States and not locals.
It's a small portion of it.
Yeah.
Every deal that I look for short-term stuff, I always consider Act 60.
There's a theory out there that you know
money.
you have to have money to make money, and that you can't become a real estate investor if you don't have any money.
Look, all I had was the 10 grand I saved up from the year that we were working together, and that was it. I have used maybe partial parts of my money, but it's only to get into the deal. That's the craziest thing about all of them, is every one of them has been a different lesson in everything you can imagine.
Also, don't forget to join us on the school community. Guys, we're passionate about getting people out of the rat race and getting you out of the matrix and helping real estate investing become easy. And here's a way that we can do that. On the school platform, we've created a place where you can come and network with us, you can come and learn with us, and ultimately, our heart's desire is that we will do real estate together. So whether you partner with us or partner with other people in the community, an easy step for you if you're watching this kind of content to becoming a real estate investor is join us on school. There's a link in the description here. It's a free community. It costs you nothing. Come on, guys. Come be part of the community. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Robbie Krager, the Flip Flop Flipper. That's Adán. He's also the Flip Flop Flipper. Neither of us are wearing flip-flops, but don't let it get you down. We're going to talk about real estate investing. We formed a partnership almost 3 years ago, Adán.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about our story. So this is going to be a fun one for me. I like doing these interviews with the people who I'm in business with. And so we've done other content, but we've never really talked about the story of how we met and what we're doing with real estate and what we're doing here, building communities on different platforms and all of it. So say hi, Adán. Introduce. Everybody wants to know who Adán is. Adán's always behind the camera. Today, he's not.
My name is Adán Cebollero. I'm from Puerto Rico. We met 3 years ago through Facebook. I like to say it was, it sounds like a dating thing.
We met on a Facebook.
Yeah. He winked at my photo, and I was like, oh man, this guy's gonna change my life.
I was on there saying, hey, I can tell people about real estate. He was on there saying, hey, I can teach people about video stuff. Let's do some YouTube stuff. We're like, great, let's go on a date. And so we did.
Oh, yeah.
And the magic started.
So just a little background. 3 years ago, I lived in the States. I left at 19 for school, and I studied film and worked a lot of TV shows over there. And I got tired of Florida. I moved around to Chicago, Colorado, and all those places, but I decided...
You punished yourself. You got tired of Florida, so you went somewhere worse.
Yes.
Before you came back to somewhere better.
That was a bad idea. The cold doesn't agree.
I don't know why anybody moves north when you... I got too cold in Florida for me, so I moved south to Puerto Rico.
Yes. I did all that and decided, hey, I want to go back home and test my luck over there with production on my own, and came back and started to do a little bit of production, but it was really, really cheap and a lot of hours, and people weren't paying well at all. And it was like a couple years after Maria, and it was not picking up for me for a while. And I always knew I wanted to do real estate. I always said, this was a long time ago, it's like, you could probably get rich off 3 or 4 things. You just got to pick one. I said, controlling food, clothing on people's back, energy, and real estate. Yeah. And I was like, I just got to pick one and figure it out.
Yeah.
So I'm not a farmer. I don't like designing anything. And
you can't sew that well.
Yeah. And the sun's got me beat on energy. and I was like, well, real estate seems to be in my blood, so I'll take a gander at that. And like anybody else, I didn't know where to start. I was like, I have no skills. I don't know how to. No, I don't have no money. I don't have money. I don't know what to do.
I got a whole shit pile of reasons why you couldn't do
100%.
it. I can't do it. I don't know what to do, where to do it. Don't have the money. I can't afford it.
Yes.
I don't know where to start. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why people don't start.
Yeah.
But you did start, though. You started by putting out a post on Facebook saying, hey, I can do this. I can film some stuff. I got a degree in this production.
Yeah, I don't know where the idea came from, but I was like, look, I'm pretty sure I can trade my skill set for a new skill set.
Yeah.
And made that post, 3 people reached out. One of them asked me, what do you want to learn? And I'm like, everything. Never reached out again.
Never said a word.
The other guy was trying to be nice, but I didn't understand shit he was saying. And then the third guy was you. And you're like, oh, well, you know, I want to start a YouTube channel and I want to do this and I want to do that. And I'm like, oh, well, I could definitely do that. We got on a call. We were talking. It seemed like a good fit. And then you're like, hey, come over to my house. We'll talk here and we'll do this and that. And I'm like, all right. And you start giving me the address. And I'm like, hey, I know that place. It sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, you can come to Vista Mar Marina, Calle Andalucia, H4A. And I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. Did you buy that house from Elizabeth?
That's right.
He's like, yeah, how do you know? I'm like, that's my mom.
It's a small island, but it's usually not that small. And so
Yeah.
when things like that happen, you have to start to wonder if it was like meant to be, right? Like, so it did seem like more than just coincidence that we were supposed to do something together.
Yeah. And my mom, she never mentioned you. Not in that way anyway. She's like, those damn gringos bought my house.
Yeah, that son of a bitch bought my house.
These damn colonizers are taking over my place. I can't believe it. And I sold it to them. I can't believe it. I was like, well, you know, you
And
you
you're
can't
like,
be
damn it,
mad.
Mom, why are you selling the house to
Yeah.
the gringo?
Why are you doing that? Get it back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Just that part of the story. And then I remember the post, like I wanted to do the YouTube thing and I had been doing videos. Like, how bad am I at these videos? Like, I'm horrible at it, right? And so it's never going to go anywhere. I see the post. I'm like, well, I got a skill set. I can show you how to do real estate. And at the time, I didn't consider teaching people how to do real estate as something that I would be very good at. But I did think that if you came and rode around with me, maybe something would rub off. And I also thought that if we filmed it, maybe it'd be pretty cool and people would like that. And honest to God, the first time we decided to do it, you're like, all right, what are you going to say? I'm like, I don't have a freaking clue what to talk about, what to say. I had no idea that I had a voice that would mean anything to anybody. And so you brought that out. That was very cool.
Yeah, and I put you in the worst possible conditions to shoot anything. 3 really hot lights, no air conditioning,
Oh my God, our first
sweating,
studio.
you know, bullets. And that was the question you did bring up. It's like, what do I say? It's like, well, let's do it this way. I'm going to ask you all the questions I have about real estate, and you're going to answer it in a way that it sounds like you're talking to an audience.
Yeah.
And that's how we started to find your voice. And that was really cool. So writing around that whole year was really, really eye-opening because the amount of knowledge that got compacted in that 1 year was something that you can't learn through a course. You can't sit on YouTube. You can scour YouTube forever and you still won't get the amount of information because it wasn't just about looking at the house and breaking it down and all this stuff. It was the conversations you would have in the car about bigger deals and how things are being handled and all that stuff. And you're just like, wow, I'm here worried about how do I raise $150,000 for this? And they're talking about like, listen, we need 1.2 million to buy this thing
Next week.
you know, like tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I put an offer yesterday, so we need it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, and it puts into perspective, like, you know what, if this guy can make calls and drive around all day and raise 1.2 million from, you know, his Ford Escape, then I'm pretty sure that I can raise the 5, the 10, you know, the 20,000, the 100,000, whatever the amount of money I need to do real estate. And it was almost a year to the date before I took on my first deal, and it was one of your properties.
Yeah,
that was Cerro Gordo.
Let me add to this though. So we rode around for a year. We filmed a bunch of content. Yeah, right.
A lot of content.
I would have the speakerphone on in the car, and you'd hear the good conversations, the bad conversations. You'd hear it when I'd lose my mind, and then you'd hear after I'd hang up and I'd be steaming mad, or you'd hear celebration. I mean, you got to see it all. Would have probably made some pretty good YouTube content, but we weren't smart enough to film it all.
Yeah,
but it was definitely had to be some kind of a learning experience, right? And we were learning how to do the YouTube stuff. So for a year, all we did was make YouTube content. And then we fast forward a year and we will now let's talk about your first deal.
Well, to add a little bit to that, hearing all those conversations is great, but being able to recap after you're done and go through everything I heard and be like, what does this mean? What do you do with this situation then?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Like, that is something that you can't get a more higher education apprenticeship
And I think
in any other way.
back to the finding the voice. Like, had you not been interested in real estate and we just said,
Oh, that would've
let's do a
sucked.
YouTube channel, you'd have ridden around with me and you'd have heard me act like an idiot sometimes. And it wouldn't have mattered
Not
to
cared.
you. You wouldn't
Yep.
have then asked me the questions and I wouldn't have known that I had anything to teach, right? So part of learning that I had something to say about real estate came from those trips where we were just riding around. And guys, when I say riding around, and Adán, you back me up and tell me if this is true, we're talking for a year, 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. Is that a fair?
At least.
Fair. I mean, you'd go 10 hours with me and then you'd go edit video
Yeah.
for another 6 or 8 hours. I mean, you were working your ass off
Yeah.
when we first started this YouTube stuff.
Yep.
But now we still both like to work at least 10, 12 hours a day. It's just kind of in our DNA. And you said real estate's in your DNA.
Yeah.
And I truly believe real estate is in your DNA as I've got to know you. Your grandfather was a real estate investor and a pretty damn good one.
He was a developer too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was the man.
Yeah.
He was doing big stuff. Had you been old enough to ride around with him, he'd have been putting together these same deals.
That's something I do regret. You don't know what you don't know, right?
Sure.
But if I could, that would be one of the coolest things to do. Is just ride around and see how he would think. To be honest, it's kind of like riding around with you. It's an open book. If you're sitting in the car, you're gonna know. You know,
You're going to hear it.
you're gonna hear it.
Yeah.
And that's about it. You know, and he ran other businesses as well. You know, the cemetery and other things. But
He
But
did
yeah,
a
he
lot
was
of
a
real,
big-
from what I know, he did some really cool stuff. Like
He-
a
lot of
he
the
was my
buildings.
kind of guy. I would have loved to have been in business with him.
Well, he was so they know it's he was an architect in Cuba. Then the whole revolution happened. They fled. They came here, and then here, he he only knew how to do one thing, was to be an architect. So he started as basically
Draftsman or something.
he started doing handyman stuff.
Oh, wow.
So he pick up a crew and take them and build walls and stuff like that just to make money. And then from there, he got back into architecture and he did a bunch of buildings here.
Yeah.
Like a lot of buildings.
Yeah, so Sierra Gordo, we're out doing our typical thing, looking at real estate. And
You were thinking of buying it back from Patrick.
Yeah, but I didn't. I wasn't sure what to do.
So this building it was a vacant shell. It was, I think, 6 units at the moment. It could have been a potential 7 units.
Yeah.
And we were riding around with Pedro that day, and we were talking about like hotel deals and all this stuff and how to run numbers. And we got to this place, and I was just doing the math and the homework. Just like, okay, if I were to convert this place into this, that, whatever, how much would it cost me, and how much would I make nightly? So I was really excited when I saw it because it looked similar to a property that my family owned, well, still owns. When it's like, it's the property's here and the beach is right there.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no doubt this is a deal right here. You could definitely make a guest house right here. It's in a great neighborhood. It's in Vega Alta, right next to one of the
Amazing
nicest beaches,
Yeah.
like in that area. So at that time, I didn't have a bank account, like a corporate account.
Yeah.
So I had Dave holding on to all my money that we were making on YouTube, which wasn't much, by the way.
All your money that you were making on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So they would pay me a salary, and I was like, Dave, just hold it, because I knew if I would get it, I would spend it. And at that moment, I still had my apartment in Orlando, which I was renting, so I was living off the cash flow basically.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot of money, but for the little dungeon I was living in, and
You
for
weren't
food.
living large.
Yeah.
You didn't have a lot of expense in the world.
Yeah.
But you had just come back from living abroad, right?
I was happy it wasn't flooding. If not, I would have been floating a couple times.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was like, all right, Dave, just hold my money. And it got to that day, and I was like, all right, I know I have about this much with PR consultants. I was like, I want it. And the whole card ride, I was like, I want it. I don't know how much you want to sell it for. This much? All right, perfect. And I went to Dave, and I'm like, all right, Dave, take my money. Here's the down payment.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, I need to raise. I think the number for that moment was like 400,000.
We were buying it for 200 or
Yeah, and then another
something. Patrick wanted 250, I remember, and you're like, all right, I'll do it. Let me give him the deposit. I'm like, well, let me see if we can get a better deal. So
Yeah.
Patrick, if you're watching this, sorry.
Yes.
We ended up going and negotiating with Patrick. I
Yeah.
think he wanted 250, and we ended up buying it back from him for 200. And you had the money to give him as a deposit. And I was like, well, just wait a minute. Just hang on. Let's not say we're doing anything under a contract where I didn't want to have
It was not your traditional real estate deal.
$5,000 get
It 10.
sucked up and get lost if you couldn't 10,000. I didn't want to have your $10,000 get taken by the seller.
I know.
So I was just like, well, let's just hold on. Let's just hold on.
I know.
And we ended up making the deal with Patrick. And the plan was you were going to raise the money, you were going to fix it up, and you were going to turn it into a hotel.
Yes.
So what happened then?
None of that. So
None of that happened.
I ended up giving the deposit. I had good intentions.
You started thinking about how to raise the money.
And it wasn't happening. So I think we had like a 60-day or something like that to get it going. And, I didn't know how to make a pro forma. I didn't know what I was doing. What I did go do right off the bat was get like a rendering to get an idea of what this place can look like.
That helped sell it too.
Because I didn't have a vision for it. Like, how could it look? I never done that before.
Right. You had it under contract. You got that rendering. And Pedro was with us the day that you said you wanted it. And ultimately, I think Pedro called up. Pedro's a wholesaler. We've had him on the channel before. And he was like, Robbie, I want to do something in Puerto Rico. Do you have anything that I could help you sell?
Yeah.
Anything I could wholesale? And wholesale's not traditionally something that works super easily in Puerto Rico, but because we had control of this asset and I had a relationship with Patrick and you were the buyer, I was like, yeah, why don't you wholesale the Sierra Gordo property? And he was like, great, what do you got? And I'm like, I don't know. Did you take any pictures that day that we were all out there? And he's like, yeah, I think I got some pictures. So Pedro starts to put something together, and then you got involved with him, gave him the rendering
and some pictures
and came up with a price, and then we wholesaled it. We
seller financed it.
Well, we wholesaled it and seller financed it. We had it under contract with Patrick. We found another buyer to come in and take it from us, and then I helped raise the money. You put in some money. I put in some money. We got a third party to put in a little bit of money as well.
Yeah.
And we closed on it, and then we immediately sold it to the new buyer, who now has made it look like you're rendering and is about to open the door with his little guest house.
It's beautiful.
And it looks great.
We got to go stay there and shoot it.
Yeah, we need to go shoot it again and have Christian come back in and tell the story because, hey, I say this all the time. Every deal's got a story. This one's really cool because it was your first deal. We were really extremely creative. We did a wholesale deal on the island of Puerto Rico. A seller financing deal on the island of Puerto Rico was, I think, the first time that I had sold anything with seller financing on the island. Definitely was the first time you ever sold anything. So it was the first time you ever seller financed something.
Yeah.
We've been getting the income from that for now a year and a half.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's a nice interest rate that we're getting. And we still have the lion's share of what we kind of earned that day that we sold it to come. And so we're looking forward to him cashing us out soon. That's for sure. And that'll complete the story, right?
That'll be a much more fun video.
And I don't even remember, and maybe you know what we sold it for, but I think we bought it for $200 and sold it for like $350 or something like that.
Sold it for $350.
So bought it for $200, sold it for $350, which that is an incredible first deal in and of itself.
Yeah.
And over the last year or so, because we're making a nice interest rate, the $350 has gone up. I mean, we've got an effective return that's higher than that. And Pedro made 20 grand or so doing a wholesale deal.
25.
Pedro made 25 grand doing the wholesale deal. So, I mean, everybody kind of made money. The guy who bought it from us, now that he's finished with it, he's got a project that's probably worth, way past $1 million, way past.
Yeah, that's what I thought too once you fixed it up.
He fixed it up, and now he's going to be able to do Act 60, get tax credits, hopefully. I hope he's doing all of that stuff. And at the very least, he's going to be able to rent it out nightly, and he's got 8 units there, I think now. 7 or 8 units.
I think it was seven units, and they were talking a potential 8, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't
But
seen
it looks
since.
great too, and we have a little bit of other content on it.
Yeah.
We'll go back and we'll shoot it again now that I believe they're like opening the doors like this month. So
That's
we need
awesome.
to go back, shoot it again, talk to Christian,
Yeah.
complete the story. But that's how real estate investing goes. You know, you get into something thinking one thing, like you bought it, you knew it was a deal and you wanted it.
Yeah.
And that was like half the battle. You were like pretty sure. You're like, hey, Robert, I've been with you for a year. I want this one. This is the one.
And I chose the most, and that's what I noticed, and we'll see now with the rest of the deals. It's like, hey, I should have picked a single family shell
Oh,
and
you
put
like
it
to do the difficult
together
stuff, though.
and been like, oh, yeah, I did it. And I was like, no, I'm going to take 7 units and I'm going to make them all.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm glad. And honestly, I'm glad that it worked out the way it did, because my inexperience was just going to not get me there.
It would have been a brutal process
Yeah.
to if we had just thrown you to the wolves. Like we wouldn't have done that, but it would have been a big learning curve.
And it was,
But even after that, every deal you've done, you do like to do the difficult stuff. So
Yeah.
they're fun projects.
yeah.
And you probably do that because I encourage it. I find that we make more money when we handle the big difficult problems, right?
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree.
but sometimes it takes way longer than you expect, and there are days where it's like not worth it. But eventually, when you get paid, it'll all be worth it.
Yeah, I know. We're on the second deal. We're 1 week away, and I've been saying this for the last 3 weeks of finishing.
Yeah.
So I hope that this week it comes true. We're in a matter of painting little details and doors, and we should be. Are we putting appliances? No, right?
Yeah, I think we should
Well,
put some appliances. But
Then appliances as well.
yeah,
But that was a seller finance deal as well.
that we bought with seller financing.
We bought with seller financing.
That was a great deal where we bought it with seller financing. A 4-family house, so it makes a great house hack, and we're about to have it on the market. So if you're out there and you're wondering where you want to live, and you want to live in a place and raise your family and have a great home, and then rent out 3 other units and have it pay for itself, hit us up. Leave a comment below that you're interested in that. I believe house hacking is the way to go right now. If you're just starting out and you want to figure out an option to get yourself into real estate investing and be a homeowner, do the house hack thing. Don't buy that single family house. Buy the 4-family house, use the FHA loan, and let someone else pay for your house. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
we're going to finish that one. We're going to get it on the market, and we're going to make money on it.
I hope so.
I believe so.
We need to make the money on it.
And you just told me, so we've done 4 deals. The first one we sold
Cerro
seller
Gordo,
financing.
Santa Rita, Carolina, the 9plex.
Oh, we've done 5 deals.
Which is the 5th one?
The big mansion,
Oh shit.
the McMansion.
yeah.
5
So-
deals.
Yeah. So
five deals, and our 5th deal is
And-
the one you just told me is probably going to sell the first.
and yes, and that's the craziest thing about all of them is every one of them has been a different lesson
Yeah.
in everything you can imagine. So the first one for me was, not raising the money, can't do anything about it. All right, pivot and sell it to somebody else. That's an option.
Yeah.
Second one is dealing with contractors is a big headache. Make sure you got everything locked in and before you start, the third one, well, that's the third one was San Ignacio.
San Ignacio
Is-
is the McMansion. We have a lot of content on the McMansion.
Yes.
We're finishing that up hopefully by the end of August. I'm saying that now, and we'll be here in August 2028 or something. Going, hopefully we're going to finish it in August, but we're hopefully finishing that thing up in August. And what we did there, that's a pretty crazy
That's
story
gonna be
too.
an awesome one.
We bought a multifamily house and turned it into a single family house.
That was a big conversion. And
A massive conversion.
the story for that one is he calls me up one day and says, "Hey, you want to go look at this $10 million wreck with me?" And I was like, yeah, I want to go see it. So they're trying to sell him this house, which is a really nice house, but
Destroyed.
they want it for they want to sell it for $10 million. And we're walking around and he's like, "Hey, it probably needs just $1 million to get it back into like working order."
Yeah.
So it was crazy, but when we get these opportunities to go into these communities, we really like driving around them.
Yeah.
And just on our way out, I spotted this little sign on top of like a power pole that says "Se vende," and I'm like, "Hey, stop!"
Yep.
Empty
turned
house.
around.
Empty house at the end of the what do you call those
The
roundabouts?
cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, well, let's see if this is for that house. We called it. They're like, yeah, we're selling that house. I'm like, how much? Oh,
350, 400,
yeah.
something like that.
It was like, hey, this makes sense.
Yeah.
If it made sense as a multifamily, but once we came back into the neighborhood and drived it around again, we're like, this makes more sense being a high-end single-family house.
Yeah.
And that has been a really interesting project. Just the dynamic of the group now, because it's different. Santa Rita, I'm doing it all by myself.
Yeah.
For the most part. You guys are supporting me, when I have questions and stuff like that.
But you're the one who's there every day. You're
Yeah.
the one who's managing the crew. Definitely, that project's your project, and you've done a great job of staying with it and fighting through it. We're 3 contractors in on 4 contractors.
4?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're
Yeah, okay.
we're many times into finding new contractors, and
Oh, man.
but you've stayed. I mean, you were there today before we came here. You're there, and we're like we're gonna finish it this week.
We're finishing.
I think we've got a really good chance of finishing it this month.
Yes, this month. So that's that. The dynamic in San Ignacio is very different because it's all a group effort.
Yeah.
Everybody has, Linda is designing the place. We're all putting in our inputs on getting the highest and best value out of it.
Yeah.
It's really coming out nice.
It's a palace, guys. So the McMansion, we basically have built a 5-bedroom, 6-bath, 5,500 square foot mansion,
pool,
on a
garage,
piece of land that has no one behind you. So I mean, you don't own it all, but it's going to look like you've got
no one's ever going to build behind you
with a creek running through it in a neighborhood that they're selling $10 million wrecks and fixing them up, and then maybe that's a $15 million or $20 million house. So we'll be selling our house for only like $2.5 million, $3.5 million. It'll be a bargain for the
couple
neighborhood,
million.
Right? And this is our first venture into doing this high-end flip.
Yeah.
At church yesterday,
PR consultants.
at church yesterday, someone told me about our next high-end flip. Guys got something over in Guaynabo, in one of those really high-end neighborhoods over in Guaynabo.
When we're gonna go see it?
I need to call the guy. But anyways, so assuming that San Ignacio works out,
yeah,
now we'll be ready to go do this next high-end flip. Because hey, if you can flip a house and make $50,000, that's great. But if you can flip a house and make $1 million, that's even better.
And there's a lot of houses coming up on San Ignacio in that area.
Yeah.
That are like, if we can get this one done, there's plenty to be done there.
Yeah.
And you can just keep repeating it right in there.
Yeah.
Anything inside that closed community, I think you make money.
And I wasn't sure when we first started out that we'd have a $2.5 or $3 million house. But now that we're coming towards the end of the project, man, and I've been looking for homes to live in for the last year and a half. This is very clearly like $2.5 million. It's probably the biggest bargain I've seen for something that will look like that. Like, this house is special. It's really, really freaking nice.
Yeah, I agree. So that's that.
And Jerry Norton kind of led me into that. He was like, hey, why don't you renovate big mansions? I'm like, I don't know. I've never done that before.
Exactly.
And so here we are. Now we're doing it. So yeah, we've done some pretty fun deals together. I think we're getting better at this YouTube stuff.
I hope so.
We're getting better at real estate investment. I think for the first year, you wanted to be a real estate investor. Then, for the last year, for sure, you're a real estate investor.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it, right?
Don't believe the lie. It's really hard.
No, but you know how to look at a deal. You know what's a deal. You know how to put a deal together. You know how to manage the project on a deal.
No, and it's honestly, I have other things going on in the background, but real estate investing is very fun.
Yeah.
And I say it's hard or whatever, but
it's hard. But everything's hard.
You could be sitting 9 to 5 in a boring office, making money for somebody else, or you could be doing it for yourself and figuring out all the hard knocks that come with it. I think that's way more enjoyable than editing a video. I hate editing videos.
Doing stuff you don't like is really hard. Like for me, I don't mind going all day and looking at real estate like I did today. I think I got up at 7 this morning and started my day. We're sitting here at 10 o'clock at night shooting content. I got energy. I could keep going because I'm doing something that I like. And sometimes we're shooting content late at night and I can't talk anymore because I'm tired, I'm wiped out. So that's real life. But Give me a day where I have to sit with my wife or my business partner, Dave McCallie, and talk about accounting or opening the mail. I'm wiped out in like 20 minutes. I'm dead doing something that I don't like so fast. It just drains me so quick, where this kind of stuff energizes me and I could keep going.
Yeah.
I love what we're doing. I hope you guys love the content that we're putting out there. We certainly like doing it and hope that you're getting value. But anyways, we're going to keep doing it because we love doing it. And it's hard work. Being a real estate investor is hard work, but hard work's good. Do something you like to do. And that's what we encourage on this channel. Becoming an entrepreneur, doing something that you care about, something that you have passion for. You have more energy for that stuff. I'd rather make less money working for myself, doing something I love, than pay me a whole bunch of money to go work for the man and be told what to do. I just, as a matter of fact, I just know about myself, I won't do it. There's just no amount of money that makes it worth it for me to do something that I hate doing. So I'd rather be less successful and do what I love. So Adán, what do you think? Has it been worth it? You glad that we partnered up on this YouTube stuff and you became a real estate investor? What do you feel about that?
Yes, I think it's definitely worth it. I totally learned a brand new skill that I didn't have before. It showed me that you shouldn't be scared of taking that step into anything, whatever it is. And it definitely has given me a lot of confidence to go hunt for the next deal.
Yeah.
And just super excited about it.
So I have a couple of other questions for you specifically. You're Puerto Rican.
As far as I know.
Yeah. You're Puerto Rican. There's this thing, Act 60 out there. The first deal that we did was potentially an Act 60 deal.
That's just all.
Were you going to qualify for that?
No, that's just for the Americans. Didn't you know?
That's just for the gringos. Yeah.
Oh, man, let me tell you about something.
But since you were in the car with me, they were going to give you a special exemption?
Yeah, I qualified too. Just because I was in the car.
Just because you were in the car.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, there is a myth that Act 60 is only for people who come from the States and not locals.
It's a small portion of it.
Yeah.
And Cerro Gordo, I was going to do Act 60.
Yeah.
And every deal that I look for short-term stuff, I always consider Act 60 because it's a lot of misinformation out there. And at certain moments, depending who you ask, even your accountant that you think, hey, has 30 years of experience, should know this shit.
Yeah.
Will tell you, hey, no, you don't qualify. And I'm like, how?
You were told that.
I was told that. And then I go ask 20 other people and they're like, no, you qualify. Like, why wouldn't you qualify?
Yeah.
No, because my accountant told me I didn't.
Listen,
stop using her as my accountant.
There are going to be people in the comments that are going to go, that's lies. It's all lies. They're telling us lies. Fine. Believe what you want, but Act 60 is available to everybody, especially the tourism part of Act 60.
It's easy to be a keyboard warrior, just,
complain
and do nothing. And I know, and I understand that I've been there before.
Yeah.
But it's just, if you want to succeed in anything in life, you just got to get away from the computer and just do something, go find out for yourself,
Yeah.
And,
So how about this? Real estate investing, did you have $1 million in the bank before you started?
No, I had to, but I lost it all.
You had $2 million.
So I'm working on the next one.
No, but so there's a myth, there's a theory out there that you need money. You have to have money to make money, and that you can't become a real estate investor if you don't have any money.
Look, all I had was the 10 grand I saved up from the year that we were working together, and that was it. And then all the 4 other deals after that, I have used maybe partial parts of my money, but it's only to get into the deal.
How many millions of dollars worth of real estate have we bought in the 5 deals?
As is or before?
I think we could do it both. Like, what did we spend?
So we do have about $1 million
on purchase.
Just purchase right now.
And then if we were to sell everything once we're done with the value add,
I think you have at least, if you're counting San Ignacio as 2, I think at least 4 million. Maybe,
yeah. So
maybe I'm a little high, but
no, I think that's right. I think we got about $1 million to buy the 5 deals, another million or so to renovate the 5 deals.
Yeah.
And they're worth between $4 and $5 million.
Yeah.
And you've done 5 deals. I mean, they're all going to sell eventually. We're going to make money, even though some days we feel poor.
Oh my God. Those are the worst days. But it's like you said, like, those days like that show you like what type of I want to say man, but I guess I'll open it to anything. It's just what type of person you are, because if you dealing with those hard days, which are the worst days possible.
Yeah.
Hey, I have no money. Hey, I can't provide. Hey, Is this ever gonna finish? Another fucking contractor. Oh man. But it's
so who you
being,
become by becoming
yeah.
an entrepreneur or a real estate investor, that's really what's important, right? Like, that's the journey. It's not like, sure, we want to make a lot of money, but really we just want to get better and do more, help more people. So I think that's awesome what you said. I mean, the hard days are the ones where you kind of figure out who you are.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason right now, I just have the picture of Trump, with the blood coming down his face and the fist in the air saying, fight, fight, fight. Look, if
that's an entrepreneur story.
That's what I'm thinking that you're saying is, like, your hard times are who you figure out who you are. That's how you know who you are. And anyway, I don't know why that picture popped in my mind when you're saying it, but that's
happened yesterday.
That's what I see. Yeah, because that just happened yesterday. That's right.
And if you want to be poetic about it, to say, it's the life of an entrepreneur is you could do everything else is easy if you don't become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
If you can go through school and get your degree, and I know there's hardships to that too, and do that and get the job you went for and go through a 9 to 5 the rest of your life, then it's easy because it's something that is structured into a way that you can still live a life around it.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur is no way around it that I could, hey, I'm gonna try to do this today. No. You're gonna take 20 calls while you're trying to change a diaper and also drive a car at the same time. Somehow you're gonna figure it out. You're like, I'm gonna do this. I got it.
And you've got to hold the camera steady the whole damn time.
Yeah.
Which is pretty
press
cool.
Record with the toe, and you got it all. So it's something that has opened my eyes and really gotten me excited to, like, do more. I just want to sell these deals so we can get into, like, a couple more.
Do some more. Yeah.
Just keep doing more. I'm looking at that 21 unit. I hope I get some good news.
I hope you get some good news on that too. That's a great project, and
Yeah.
it'll be fun one. It'll be a fun one to document and watch you go through it and do it.
Why is it so hard for you to think that you can't teach what you do? And I'm not saying everybody has to ride in the car with you for a year.
Yeah.
But I do believe you do have massive value in what you do. And I don't only say that because, we have the relationship we have, but I have seen you walk into different rooms, different situations, and everybody, for the most part, turns to you to hear your opinion. At the last event we were at, probably, I think 90% of the panelists have done a deal with you.
Yeah.
That is something that pretty hard for most people here to say that and be like, oh, I hear you get calls and all this stuff. Like, why aren't you doing more of this?
Well, I am. So we are, right? We've done this YouTube channel so that we could invite people to partner with us, and we say that's how we expand our business. We've now formed a couple of communities on the school platform, and we are inviting people there to dive in with us and network with us and learn with us and do deals with us. And you're right. When I first started, when maybe even the first year, I was very hesitant about saying that I'm someone who teaches. I wanted to document what we were doing because I thought it was interesting, and I've always been willing to share what I'm doing, and I've never had a problem. I've never once had a problem telling someone exactly what I'm doing in real time. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing it. If you want to do it too, do it. Yeah. But at the same time, even though I was an open book, I never felt like I was a teacher, right? Like, so, and I still don't live into that role fully.
I know.
I like the idea of partnerships. I like the idea of doing things together. And I think maybe part of the reason why I have that opinion, or why that I think that of myself, is because I learn by doing. I was never a good student. So I have to learn how to do something by doing it myself. And I don't want to tell people that I know how to do something if I'm not, like, but I'll show you what I'm doing. I just might be doing it wrong.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how to
I'll tell you what,
explain it.
if I'm doing something, I'm eventually going to be successful with it. So there, maybe I do know what I'm doing. I think at this point, 26 years in, I know a thing or two about this stuff, but I still don't know that I'm a great teacher. First time I sat behind the camera and tried to talk,
In front of the camera.
man, this is really hard
Yeah.
to sit here and look in the camera and just start telling people some shit and have it mean anything, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that I'm getting better at it. I hope that the YouTube community likes it, you know?
Yeah. The 10,000 people say so.
I
someone's,
mean, that's,
someone's
to
watching.
me, that's freaking unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, I know there are people that are out there that are bigger, that are doing more, but if through this YouTube channel we can help one person become a real estate investor or do something with their life that's different than a path that they thought they were on, to me, that's worth it. Like, I get so much out of that when I hear someone say, oh, I had recently a guy tell me, I'm a real estate investor because of your videos, or because you told me this, or watching you become a real estate investor. Like, that's just revs me up. That gets me going. So I like that.
That's pretty awesome. So I know outside forces are making you, not telling you, hey, you can't buy more, you can't do more, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not naming names, you know.
Yeah.
Besides that, I know from experience that's not going to stop you. So what do the next 10 years look like? Are you buying hotels? Are you building hotels? Are you, building communities? Do you have an interest in development? What do the next 10 years look like for the flip-flop flipper?
Well, I'm definitely going to buy more real estate, right? And we're going to document it, put it out there on YouTube. We are building communities. I think what'll happen over the next 10 years is that there is right now a group of people, yourself, my son, maybe Drew Schaffner back in Orlando, a few people that I am investing in that are younger than me that can take the baton and move on with it. And yeah, I think that we'll be buying hotels, we'll be building hotels. I think that you guys are going to drive what I'm going to do, right? Like, I think up to this point, I've always been the guy who has driven for myself and everybody around me. And over the last few years, I've intentionally invested in you and a couple of other guys. And I think that group will grow, right? Like, I believe we've got a community of people, and that is truly where it will grow, and that we'll do more because there will be people that are bringing us deals. And whether that's on the island of Puerto Rico or somewhere else in the world,
I know.
that I'm not sure of.
Chaos investing.
I like to go to new places and do new things, and we've been here for 6.5 years. I think we'll be here for another several years, but I could also see a day in the not too distant future where we're doing something in South America, or we're doing something in Europe, or going to a different part of the U.S. I don't know, but there's definitely more. I'm all about more. I like my favorite deal is my next deal. So that's why you say that Linda's trying to hold me back, and not hold me back.
They're not holding you
they're
back.
They're just like, hey, we've got so much going on. Let's slow down a little bit, and then let's regroup. So we're gonna regroup. We're gonna buy a whole bunch more real estate.
Well, I think the group aspect helps, right? Because we'll start hopefully taking things off plates.
Yeah.
Be like, listen, I can handle that. Let me go run with this. Or Drew or McKenna can handle this, or, and like we're doing right now.
So, Adán, thanks for sitting down and talking. I know you don't feel as comfortable on this side, but I think it's super important for everybody out there to get to know you, because you are a real estate investor and you're part of this community that we're building. And so you're a resource for them, and they want to know you. They want to see you. And so you kind of fought me on doing this interview for a little bit. But this has been a lot of fun for me. I enjoyed this conversation. I think that it'll resonate with everybody out there. So you guys give this video a like. Let's blow it up. Let's make it our most popular video so that I can get Adán back in front of the camera again, and he won't pretend like he doesn't want to sit here and talk to me.
Because we don't do that all day. Yeah. We don't talk on the phone. We don't talk through messages.
We hardly ever communicate.
Yeah, no. Thank you for having me. This
all right,
is awesome.
buddy. Thanks, partner. I appreciate it. Yep, that's awesome.
And then don't forget to go check out our school community. Starting to get really, really exciting in there. I'm excited to see how our first course goes through the fix and flip.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we're dropping our first fix and flip course inside of the school community, the Apex Real Estate Pros. And we're doing weekly master classes with Q&As attached to them. And so that's something that is going to build on itself, and there'll be a catalog of stuff. So whenever you come and join the community, that'll be there for you. But Join now, get in now. It's a great place to be, to network, to learn, to do deals. Let's do this, guys. Let's form partnerships. We can do more together than we can apart.
That's true.
All right.
All right.
God bless you guys.